One of my New York Stock Exchange reporter colleagues has just published his life story. It's part memoir, part history of this old place. After checking the glossary to see whether he mentions me, he doesn't, by the way, chapter 15 caught my eye. It's called Can Anyone Predict the Market? What a prescient title for the years 2022-23. There's even a quote from the boxer Mike Tyson. Everyone has a plan until they get punched. Investor Jay Woods and I are feeling a little punch drunk. We're looking back at the 2021 stocks review on my iPad, most of which we got right.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not as good as we had hoped.
But we couldn't have known about Ukraine.
It's tough to predict these black swan events.
So what about 2022? It was the year of the R word. R for recession, that is. 2 negative quarters of growth between January and June suggested the US economy was officially in recession. But strong job growth kept the markets and the politicians from admitting it. Inflation at 40-year highs set the central bank, the Federal Reserve, on a mission to bring it down to around 2%, where it's been for the best part of the last 3 decades, by raising interest rates. There were 7 hikes in 2022, 4 of them jumbo size, 75 basis points. Many on Wall Street fear the Fed's going too far too fast and is in danger of forcing a recession, the quickest way to bring inflation down.
You know what, I think everybody has a different opinion on, and that opinion has changed throughout the whole year, right? Every time something happens, they're pointing towards it or against it.
When I hear the smarter people on the street talking about a recession, it could be deep. I tend to believe them, and I think they have some money and some skin in the game.
But the good news, you hit recession, historically, by the time they officially name it, you're halfway through it, and we can finally say the bottom is into this bear market.
2022 was a bad year for tech stocks, though Apple was one of the best performing so-called mega caps in the final 6 months of the year. Amazon saw most of its pandemic stock gains disappear towards year's end, and Tesla, once a company flirting with a $1 trillion valuation, saw its shares decline nearly 30% after Elon Musk used billions of his own Tesla stock to buy Twitter. He said he's stepping down as CEO once a replacement's found. This after more than 57% of respondents to his own Twitter poll told him to go back to running Tesla and SpaceX.
That was a very interesting poll, and it was very ironic that he's running 2 big companies, and who is Twitter CEO, couple CEOs back, Jack Dorsey, 2 different companies. So we'll see what happens. I think Twitter could probably use a different direction, and Tesla could use them back.
Facebook shareholders have had a dreadful 2022. At the start of the year, it was one of the top 10 companies in the world by market capitalization. Now it's far below that and no longer a front runner. The stock is down over 60% after the company changed its name from Facebook to Meta Platforms in June and overspent on Mark Zuckerberg's pet project, the far-off and futuristic so-called metaverse.
I can't analyze the man, I can analyze what the company has done. And it's clear that they put a lot of eggs in one basket about the metaverse, and that whole story has not really panned out that well.
Going out 5 years as far as your growth forecasts and your changing of your company and your rebranding, is just not going to do it right now for the investor. But that's not to say it won't be successful in the future.
But if tech has had a rough 2022, it's nothing compared with cryptocurrency. This relatively new asset class, Bitcoin's been around for nearly 14 years now, came to the fore during the pandemic. Bitcoin and Ethereum are its key products. But the house of cards came tumbling down in November with the implosion of the crypto exchange FTX, run by the now notorious Sam Bankman-Fried. Liam Quinlan Stamp is head of a firm that does marketing for crypto companies around the world.
I don't think it's finished. I think it's taken quite a significant step back. It's going to now pave the way for regulators to take more sweeping powers. But with the total value that's locked within blockchain, it's not going anywhere. But I do think it's going to be quite a significant and painful bear market for traders.
Among the best performing sectors in 2022 were energy for the second year in a row as commodity prices rose, healthcare, and defense stocks because of Russia's special military operation in Ukraine. And what of the Chinese stocks that trade in New York? An August agreement between Beijing and Washington saw US auditors given access to their books by Beijing itself. The auditors reported being given full access, removing the threat of delisting of Chinese so-called ADRs in 2023. That and the easing of COVID restrictions in China have placed the Chinese stocks back on the list of possible investments in 2023 after 2 years of caution.
They're coming back. Yeah, the price action's been phenomenal. We're seeing them start to break out to new levels.
China was beaten down for a little bit, and here value players at the end of the year are taking a shot, saying if there's room for some massive upside, this is maybe a place you want to be.
The IPO, or initial public offering market, has been pretty dormant in 2022. Or to put it another way, there were hardly any of them at all. Despite bank profits tumbling and staff layoffs on Wall Street, the feeling here is that the IPO scene could pick up in 2023, especially the latter part of the year.
I sure hope so. I love IPOs. What we do here at the Stock Exchange, what we do best of any place in the world is build the foundation of an IPO.
There are so many variables as 2023 gets underway. Inflation, interest rates, recession, Ukraine. However, somebody's got to do it. Make an overall prediction for the year to come. What do you say, boys?
Force me. All right. Yeah, recession, yes. Sell-off, yes. So first half can be a little rocky.
I would anticipate volatility going forward, but as you start to get through mid-2023, I think you're going to want to be an investor in the market. I think the value is going to be just too great.
If you ask me, is the market going to go up and down in 2023? The answer is yes! Bing bong!
John Terrett, CGTN, on the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange.